Welcome to Evolve Through God. I just had on the podcast a guest named Meredith Hancock. I had the pleasure of meeting Meredith through local networking events, and she started to share her story with me about her return to her faith. And I had to stop her because I said, nope, you got to be on the show. So, what you are going to hear from Meredith in this episode is nothing short of a miracle in her return to God and the way that he shows himself to her. And the encounters that she has on a couple of mission trips are definitely God-led. So I hope you enjoy this episode with Meredith, and here it comes. Good afternoon. Welcome to Evolve Through God. I'm really, really excited today because I have a local guest on today, actually. So I've had the opportunity to meet Meredith in person, and I know a very small amount about her story. And I was extremely just impressed with her and how wonderful and graceful she is. And so I wanted to have her on the show. So welcome, Meredith. And I'm like I always say, I feel like I always say excited for every one of these shows, but it's true. I am. Like I learned so much from all of the guests that come on, and I'm really excited to learn from you today.
Thank you. Hello. I'm excited too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I know that your journey, obviously all of our journeys are unique. So I typically will start guests off with kind of where they first like connected with God, but I feel like your story, for some reason, is a story that's going to start before that happened.
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about it.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that God, started working in my life before I knew who he was.
Mhm.
Um, we actually, it was during the worst part of my life that became the most beautiful part, right? My husband and I were moving back from Phoenix, Arizona to
Mhm.
Leesburg, Virginia. And we were young, and, thought we were invincible. So we were going to just keep driving, take shifts. So it was about, I guess, 12 a.m. in like Tucumcari, New Mexico. And
Mhm.
we had like this truck that was loaded, 17-foot Penske truck loaded with too heavy. We had his motorcycle in the back. We had an SUV hooked to the back.
Wow.
And yeah, I had just taken over driving and not experienced a driving a load like that. And the speed limit in New Mexico is like very fast and it was dark. And I didn't realize there was like a curve coming up around and there was no like, it was just a straight drop down into the median. And the tractor trailer next to us kind of swerved over, because it was such a curve.
Yeah.
And all I remember hearing was like the ruts catching on my SUV and going, no, no. And my husband was asleep and he started to wake up. And all I remember saying no. And we ended up going down and flipping over
Oh,
and
wow.
hanging upside down. And like I remember just unbuckling upside down, unbuckling my seatbelt. I was in shock, like, and thank God we were, alive. Like I have one little cut, like a scar here, and this couple stopped and they were angels. She took me back to a hotel room. My husband stayed and piled up what was left of whatever we had onto a flatbed.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know the Lord like, I believed there was a God or,
Mhm.
and my dad had mentioned it growing up, but so I first thing I did I was call my dad and he said, "Oh my gosh, we had been praying for you." And she's like, "Wow." And so we get back after that, we get back. We had no place to live. We had to move in with, my husband's parents for a little bit to get back on our feet and to start our jobs. And 3 days into my new job, I get a call from my dad that he's in the hospital. He has multiple myeloma.
Oh,
And
wow.
so that was like
How
October.
old were you when all of this was going on?
Yeah, I was 27. Yeah, I
Okay.
was
Okay.
27 when that happened. Yeah, and like the next 3 months, like it was quick. His mother, my grandmother, ended up passing away, and I remember the funeral. I think it was like December 12th that year. And the pastor, like my grandmother was a believer in Sunday school and all that, but I didn't grow up in church. I think she took me a
Mhm.
couple of times. I just remember the pastor like yelling, and it scared me when I was
Yeah.
a little kid.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really grow up in church, didn't really feel like I was good enough, and felt, like Christians seem so perfect and I'll never fit into that. And I don't know,
Oh,
God, you must hate me because I grew up in like a life of brokenness, my
yeah.
PTSD, depression, like mental illness with my mom, and just like really broken. And yeah, so anyway, the at the funeral, my grandmother's funeral, they did an altar call, like close your eyes, raise your hand. And
Hmm.
I was like, man, if I had died in that wreck, I don't know if I would have gone to heaven. Like that was like my thought, like I want to go to
Wow.
heaven. So I
Yeah.
raised my hand, was crying, eyes closed. I don't know who was watching me, but but then they said afterwards, come talk to us. And I'm like, I'm not talking to you. I guess I'm good. I got a ticket to heaven. I'm good. And yeah, so uh January 2nd, my father passed away. Like he was so sick he
Oh,
couldn't even go to the funeral. Like January 2nd, he passed away.
wow.
And I don't know, I feel like God carried me through that. And the next 10 years, like my mom suffered from mental illness and addiction, like just and I started my own business and left my full-time job, took that leap of faith. And my mom ended up I ended up going to move her to like an elderly place 20 minutes from here, but I had to drive to Parkersburg to get her because she had hitchhiked like all over and ended up here.
Wow.
So my friend from high school worked.
Was she in Arizona too?
No, she was in
Okay.
Parker, so she ended up in Parkersburg, West Virginia,
But she hitchhiked from where to there?
from Martinsburg, West Virginia, down to
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like yeah. So I went and got everything she had fit into the back of my Jeep.
Hmm.
Got her to the apartment. Like over the next 2 years, her health just declined more and more.
Hmm.
And but I got to be with her and take her to doctor's appointments and it was hard because like, the mental illness and dementia, she was starting to get dementia. And when she passed away, like I was just crushed. I was
How
really
long had
crushed.
it been? How long had it been since you had spent like a lot of time with her?
Wow. I remember when I went to pick her up, I probably had not seen her in 9 years since my dad passed because she kind of
Okay.
surfaced while he was sick, and just it was so weird to see her like looking so frail and with a cane and just like the addiction and taking a toll on her body. So and she was
Wow.
only 63. Yeah, and she passed away and it was around right before like Easter in 2014. So I was like 36 then. So
Okay.
it had been a minute since that wreck and saying, I don't want to go to
Yeah.
hell.
Well,
Um,
did you have during the time after the wreck and your grandmother's passing, did you end up doing any kind of like, did you start going to church? Did you talk to God? Did you like, what did
no,
that look like for you during that time?
well, at nighttime, I was always just so worried about my mom,
Hmm.
and I didn't really know how to pray, but I did remember the Lord's Prayer. So
Hmm.
I would lay in bed and just be like, pray that. And one thing I did ask him, was please don't let my mom end up like in a ditch somewhere and like not find her, so I think that was the answer prayer that I got to be with
Yeah.
her. And yeah, so that's pretty, so yeah, I guess I would pray, the best
Hmm.
I could know. And yeah, but when she passed, that's when it was one morning. Actually, I need to tell you, this is going to be long, I'm sorry.
No, go for it. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, so the morning she passed away, I had this dream. And I don't have remember my dreams, very rarely. And
Hmm.
when she was in like in and out of nursing homes, she'd call me with these crazy lists of things to take to her. So in this dream, like I was at her apartment and I was boxing up stuff, and I remember her standing next to me, and she really couldn't stand that well, like, but I didn't realize she's just standing on her own.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh no, where are we going to move you now? I don't know where we're going to move you now. Like, it may have been some curse words in there, my dream. And I was just like so worried about where she was going to go. And then this bright light appeared and she was gone.
Oh,
And I
wow.
woke
And
up and I was like,
that was the night that she passed?
well, it was that morning
The
I woke
morning.
up and her home health helper called me and said, I can't get in. I'm like, oh, okay. And she ended up calling me back and put a coroner on the phone. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so that was really, I was just broken. I was like, man, yeah.
But she was there with you and showed you that she went to heaven.
Yeah, I think she was just trying to say goodbye and me so worried about the
Yeah, but that
everything.
bright
Like,
light is
yeah,
unmistakable, right? So
yeah,
she came to
yeah.
see you in that moment to say, "Don't worry about me. I made it. I made it to the other side."
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but that was hard. And then I would say like I don't know, a week later, a friend texted me and said, "Hey, I want you to listen to the song." And I knew she was like a churchgoer. I'm like, "Oh Lord, what she said." And so I was in my office and I was like, okay. And I closed my eyes and listened to this song. And I just had like this vision in my mind of like Jesus, his hand coming down and pulling me out of water.
Oh.
And I felt this is when I like felt the Holy Spirit. I felt all this warm, bright light surrounding me. It's like I was getting a hug. And
Hmm.
I heard like a deep whisper in my spirit that said, I was always with you. And I was like,
Oh.
wow. And I just felt like the love. I was like, wow. And
What song was that?
that was Oceans. Yeah,
Okay.
Oceans. That's like when it first came out, I guess. But I was like, wow, the first thing I thought was everybody needs to know this love. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's when I started listening to the sermons of the friend that sent me the text where she went to church. And I'm like, wow, they seem like they accept people, tattoos and all, you know. So I started going to church on Easter, and I remember one of the first sermons that I really remember talked about gifts and how God gives you gifts.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, like all the artistic gifts and things I have and you've given me, and wow, that's amazing. Like I've been able to do everything I do because of you. And so I got, on fire for the Lord and I got
Hmm.
baptized. I went on a mission trip to Calcutta, India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
What
went
did
to
you learn
Bolivia.
there?
Well, we we met with a pastor who was a former Hindu,
Hmm.
and he had done all these things Hindu wise to ask for his brother's healing, and nothing worked. And he was mad at his other brother who converted to Christianity, and he ended up saying, "God, if you're real, heal my brother," and he healed his brother. So he
I just got full chills when you said that.
Yeah, and he ended up
Wow.
starting his own church. And so we connected with him through another friend's daughter who had gone on a mission trip and met them. And it was amazing. It was like what a way to break yourself in on a first mission trip. But
Yeah.
he had a house church and we met there. And every place we went, we did worship. I call the guitar player Smiley. He had the biggest smile.
Yeah.
And like I don't speak Hindu or whatever, but like you would start to kind of get the repetition in the songs. I would sing
Hmm.
along as best as I could.
Hmm.
We would go to these villages. We went to the red light district,
Okay.
and met with an older madam. She wanted prayer and healing, but she didn't want Jesus. Then we
She
met
wasn't ready
with
to change her life. She just wanted the healing from it.
Yeah, most people want the gift, but not the following.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it really humbled me, and to see the little kids walking around. We went in the early morning doing all the errands while their moms were sleeping. They've probably been working all night, and we went to three different places, but the other three were very receptive. And the good thing is that Shantanu, he would go back in there with like medical clinics and things like that, someone to kind of till the soil
Hmm.
and guide them. And we went to a village on the water. It was so hot that day, and I had been on antibiotics because my stomach. I was like, I'm getting in the water. I don't care. They thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But we went to two orphanages. We went to a Hindu village. But everywhere we went, we worshiped and we shared,
The
the
Lord's word.
gospel.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and prayed for people. And it was pretty amazing. And then I went to Bolivia in 2019 with a mission team,
Wow.
and we worked on a mountain and just went and shared my story, God's story, with like the three circles method, and that was pretty amazing. But and God gave me a word before that trip. He kept pointing out Isaiah 43, when you go through
Okay.
deep waters, I'll be with you. When you go through the fire. And I met this girl. She was my appointment. I just happened to put a Spanish Bible in my backpack that day, and we go up to her house, and she's these two little kids, and we had an interpreter and a national with us, and he said, "Do you have a Bible?" She's asking for a Bible. I was like, "Oh, I do. I just happened to."
Mm.
So I gave her the Bible. She asked me to sign it, like my name for her, and
Oh,
she really like was I don't know, clicked with me. And we went to back to see her on the third day. We went to see her. She accepted Christ, and
wow.
there's a missionary that lives there that still like connects with them. So
Hmm.
it's really interesting how he works like that, and it's very humbling. And I guess, and he had me do a lot of travel in right before COVID. So I'm like, is that it, Lord? Was that like a once in a lifetime thing? Um,
Have you not had any since?
No, no, I haven't been on a plane. I think my passport's even expired, but who knows,
Yeah.
he might have another one in the works, but yeah, it's just been the past 12 years. I've been following, like
Mm.
understand reading his word, the Holy Spirit giving me knowledge and connecting me to work like local. We're on a mission field everywhere we go, right?
Yeah.
So he's really connected me with the community here, and with a nonprofit called Valley Light Foundation, transitional homes for men and women. And I go there every Thursday when I'm not doing something else. We do
Okay.
Bible study and dinner with the ladies, and I've done some mentorship with some guests. We call them guests there, but the owner or founder, her and her husband started it because they met a lady who had a job, had a car, but just couldn't get a place because of credit and this and that. And they're like, we got to do something.
Yeah.
And now they have like 4 or 5 houses, I think, where
Wow.
it's like a give them goals and steps to
Hmm. To
move
get on
up
their
to the
own.
next. Yeah, like they do have to pay a fee and have a budget, and that's where the mentors work with them. And but yeah, Holly also has a jewelry, she calls it Valley Shine, where they take broken jewelry and make new jewelry out of it. And these earrings I'm wearing are from
Those
one
are
of the,
beautiful. Yeah, those are
yeah,
beautiful.
just gave these to me. I was like, oh, but yeah, it's really cool to see, and how I can, God can use me, and
Yeah.
things like that, even when I'm like, why are you using me?
Well, what are your gifts, Meredith? You alluded to them a few minutes ago. So what gifts do you have? You said they're creative gifts that God gave you?
Um, Definitely artistic.
Hmm.
I like to paint when I in my downtime, right?
Yeah.
But I love to paint and give back. Painted some murals for churches, design, did some communication stuff for my church. Yeah, just things like that. Went to been in the design field since for like 27 years. So, I
Hmm.
got a bachelor's degree in that, and
Hmm.
always, since I was a teen, got interested in that. And so definitely like a visual gift, creativity gift. Definitely a gift of mercy. When I feel other people's pain, when I'm around them, and yeah.
Okay. I was making a note about that. I think that's so important. I think this world has become so self-led, and
Mm-hmm.
people are not out there recognizing empathy for others
Yeah.
and finding people in their pain and where they are and helping them through it. So I think it's beautiful that you recognize that you have that gift and you utilize it. That's amazing. Um, so what kind of things do you do for your relationship with God? What do you focus on for yourself to keep yourself close? Do you talk to God? What do you do?
Um, It's an internal dialogue, I think, and I rarely, when I'm by myself, pray out loud. It's always in my mind,
Hmm.
in my prayer life, devotionals every morning, doing, staying in the Word is the most important thing. Listen to daily audio Bible every day.
Hmm.
Been doing that probably, I don't know, gosh, I've been doing that like 8 years. So
Wow.
done the Bible a lot. Um, and I want to journal more. I need to. Uh, but yeah, just I look back at some of the journals from like when I went on my mission trip and things like
Hmm.
that, and then like prayer journals of where God's answered prayers. Putting it down helps to kind of go back and look at all He's done. Um, with my church, I do a Creative for Christ group once per month, and we did prayer journals last month. This month, we picked out a verse and made some paper flowers and put them on a board. We'll do a painting next month. And last year, we did more outreach with it. We
Hmm.
did Valentine's cards for a nursing home,
Oh, I love that.
like watercolor cards, and made little packets of candy and went and dropped them
Mm.
off to them and talked to them and prayed with them. And then we did Thanksgiving cards because I figure Christmas they probably get a lot of people, So Thanksgiving we went in and did the same thing and help serve food to. They have a warming shelter program. It just ended, but our outreach group with church, we go and do things like that. We're having a homeless event this Saturday downtown where we're giving out free food and
And
just
that's
going to
in
be.
Winchester? Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay, I love that. I love that. I think what are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on helping churches get more involved in community? Because it sounds like you specifically, your church actually does quite a bit. But there's been other people
Hmm.
I've talked to. Their church doesn't do as much outreach
Hmm.
in that are in the smaller, more rural areas. Like, what ideas
Hmm.
do you have for that?
Um, Well, I think if you notice that and you're in a church, that God's probably prompting you to do something,
Yeah, yeah.
even if it's just walking around and, praying for people or just
Hmm.
walking around the community and praying for the community. I think any step toward God, He honors and He's there with you. So just kind of look for the opportunities. Like Holly and her husband saw the woman digging through trash for dinner, and
Yeah.
talk to her, like give people the time. I think Jesus, he was always on the way to some place. I think it was Jairus he was going to heal, and he got stopped, and
Hmm.
healed someone,
Hmm.
So I think it's being available and surrendered and looking for the opportunity. Um, even if it's just being kind to someone, in a checkout line,
Yeah.
just like that. Like, just there's the need is there. You just have to look for it and start small, you
Yeah.
know.
Just simple tips and tasks
Hmm.
to help out there.
Hmm.
So what do
Hmm.
you think in your return? Because you said you always felt like God existed, but you didn't really have a relationship. So
Hmm.
in your coming to Christ, like what do you think was the hardest thing for you in the beginning? I know you mentioned you felt like you were not enough, but what do you think it
Hmm.
was difficult for you? Like how would you
Hmm.
forgive some kind of insight to somebody who might be struggling with that now?
Um, that God is not a label maker, and if someone's you feel judged or labeled, that's not from God. He's love. He's like he takes away the labels and makes a way. He's like a way maker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you open your heart to him and fully receive all that he has for you, it's all about trust. And you can't think, oh, I have to be perfect. No, no, he wants you to come as you are, but also come, ready for him to work in your life. And he'll clean up the whatever you're worried about. If you have past trauma or thing, he's a
Mm-hmm.
healer, and it's just that trust. And I think the first step is to just ask him to show himself to you, and he will. Um, and definitely. once you take that first step, the community aspect is the most important thing.
Hmm.
Um, God works with the prayer of his people. And once you build that community, so many people have been praying for me over the years, and I feel those prayers, and in return, you can do that for others. So I think
Yeah.
it's that taking that first step of trust, um, having open hands to receive like
Hmm.
what he has and what he wants to do through you, and you don't have to have it all figured out, you know.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
true. You don't have to
Yeah.
have it all figured out. And if you're open
Hmm.
and receiving, he's going to help you every step along the way. So,
Hmm.
how did he, when you first started to ask him to show himself to you, do you have any stories around that you want to share?
Um, well, I think with my mom, again, I had that dream,
Hmm.
and I think over the next couple of weeks before I really started to like trust him and get into the word, I was just like, is she okay? I was still kind of worried. Like, and he gave me another dream. Um, that, like I said, my mom would give me these lists of things to take to the nursing home with her crazy long lists. And in my
Hmm.
dream, I was pushing all this stuff up a hill. Like one time it was like a hospital bed and all these boxes, and we were around this lake, and we were going to stay somewhere, but we were at a concession stand. And the last time I saw her, she was in a wheelchair with her back to me. So she's in front of me, and I'm like, oh, they asked us what we wanted to order to drink. And I was like, oh, Mom, are you thirsty? And she stood up and she turned around.
Hmm.
She looked beautiful.
Hmm.
Like in this picture, she was in a beauty contest. Um, when she was like 17 or 18, and she looked just like that in this beautiful smile.
Hmm.
And she pointed to a fridge. Whew, and I was like, okay. And I opened the fridge, and it was like communion glasses.
Hmm.
And I was just thinking that, that was God's way of saying she's fine. She's not thirsty.
Yeah, she's got
You know?
me. She's got me in her.
Yeah.
She doesn't need anything.
Yeah. So, whew, I haven't shared that in a while. It got me.
Oh, thank you
But
for
um
sharing.
But I was like, and I never remember my dreams. And I think, and God will give me like little visions, like flashes. Um, when I remember them more when I was like a new believer, because I think
Mhm.
he just outpours all the stops, because he's like
Yeah.
so happy. Who's so happy you've come home, right?
Yes.
And I would get like these flashes of like um me like painting in one, and then like I was exercising in one. I'm like, what is that? And then like a video. And when I look back at the first like my I call it my home church because that's where I started my walk with God, my previous church. I did all these murals. I joined the worship team, I
Mhm.
started singing with the band. And then we started like a little women's ministry, and I did these video like intros of everyone. And then I even did like an exercise class at the church. But like it's like a year or two before even I happened, like I got these flashes in my mind. I was like, what's that? And I think he was just showing me, we're gonna do awesome things together.
Yeah.
And another, I think he shows himself to me through nature. Um,
Mm.
like I think it's the second year at my church. It was like some women's tea event, and there was this girl. She needed a ride, and she wanted to come, so I made sure, I got her a ticket, and I'm like, I'll pick you up. I went to pick her up. She lived right near the apartments where my mom had passed away.
Yeah.
So after the event, I went to drop her off, and I automatically turned on the right hand signal like I was going to see my mom, and it hit me, and I was like, oh, and I teared up. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, I'm okay. And we pulled up to her house, and her little girl ran outside, and she was chasing this
Mm.
butterfly.
Oh,
And I was like, it's so
wow.
cute. So I went home, and I was sitting on my deck, and something told me, quit scrolling, put your phone down. And I put my phone down. I looked up, and the sky was like really clear that day,
Mhm.
but there was two clouds right up above me, and one was shaped like a butterfly, and the other was shaped like a heart. And I heard like this gentle whisper that said, she's free.
Oh,
So he's like comforted me when I worry, and has shown
yeah.
me those things that have made me realize that, she's way better off than, you know,
Mhm.
um, And
Hmm.
I haven't talked about my dad much, but he was a believer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that's where I got the artistic gifts and everything. And I haven't really had any dreams of my dad. My brother has of him like building things, like building a house. I'm like, well, he's getting our mansion ready. No. But yeah, so that's he definitely through nature, um through other people I'll be thinking of something, or this verse will keep coming up and someone will say it. I'll be like confirmation
Yeah.
through other people, and like even a message one week I'll be like, wow, has a preacher been reading my journal? But he gives me like those little whispers, and in the stillness is where I find them, in the quiet and
Hmm.
nature, and yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think it's such a
Oh,
great reminder for the listeners to be still and to listen and to pay attention.
yeah, this just made me think. I went on a little quiet retreat with two friends in the Poconos,
Hmm.
like I don't know, 2018. And we would just separate each day and walk, do our own walks in our time with God. And there was this really still lake, and I would sit near the lake, and my dad loved to collect rocks, and I still have like this little rock collection of his. He liked nature too. And I like to, like, whenever anybody goes somewhere, I'm like, will you bring me back a rock? They think I'm crazy, but
I have
some
a rock collection too, so I don't think you're
yeah,
crazy at all. I have rocks from all
yeah.
over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was sitting there and just real quiet, just and I'm like, oh, well, maybe this rock. So it looked like just a little rock sitting on the ground. So I went to pick it up and I couldn't. I had to like dig it out, and it was this heart-shaped rock about this big.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I
But like
love it.
little things like that, this God, little God winks, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. There's a book called God Winks. Have you ever read it?
No.
Yeah, it's good. It's that's the title of it. It's God Winks. It's one of the first when I started my own journey, it was one of the first books that I read, kind of in hopes, right, that I would have my own God Winks. I think
Mhm.
I had many, but I didn't realize what they were at the time. And I know them now, looking back over my life. But yeah, it's a good little book, and it's just a collection of stories of times like that in people's lives where
Oh,
God showed
okay.
Himself. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good read for sure. So you said about your dad. So when he passed, you don't
Mm.
remember there were any times, I mean, I guess at that time you didn't have quite the same level of awareness. Your grandmother had passed and then he passed shortly
Yeah,
later.
yeah. Maybe I was a bit mad at the whole situation. Because I remember the last weekend my dad was in the hospital, and it was around New Year's Eve. Spent New
Hmm.
Year's Eve with him, and spent the night with him before he died. But I remember him praying like everything was going to be okay, and he said God hears you, and I was mad, and in my mind I was like, no, he doesn't. This is happening, and so my heart was hardened during that time, I
Hmm.
think. And I just was like, how can you take my dad when I'm only 27?
Yeah.
And he had been doing really well. He was in recovery, and just like he was doing okay. And yeah, so definitely had a hardened heart during that time, but God doesn't give up on us.
No, no, he doesn't leave us, and he just waits for when we're ready. He
Hmm.
just waits for when we're ready. That's so
Yeah.
good. Well, Meredith, how can we the listenership connect you, find you? Like how can people learn more about you and what you are doing?
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on social media. Hancock Media is my handle. And then there's like my Instagram is Hancock Media. If you wanted, my personal is Treasured and Loved.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah, and I've started like I need to do more with it because it's something that God has put on my heart. But I started like a Christian t-shirt company called
Oh.
Treasured and Loved Shop. Um, there's some things up there that's like a goal of mine to build that out, and have some things in the works. But
Well,
yeah, you
let's
can,
get let's get going with it, Meredith, so we can
well,
promote it on the
there's some
podcast.
there is some shirts up there if you want to get on there and
Okay.
Some shirts. There's one that has treasured and loved on it, and a few others. I've done some like little journal drawings when I
Hmm.
like to do sketches of the word, and like one that has soar with the eagle and things like that. So I'm working on.
I'll have to check that out because eagle is how God shows himself to me a lot.
Mm.
When I'm really
Well,
struggling and in times where I have to make a decision about things, he'll show me. I'll get an eagle that will come through somehow.
yeah.
I'll be outside and in just a random place. I was
Mm.
walking in Ashburn Village, and I guess there's a nest not far from here in Leesburg. And I was out on a walk and I was really wrestling with God over something. And all of a sudden, this eagle just came out of nowhere over top of one of the lakes here in Ashburn Village. And I was like, all right,
Mm.
God, I see you. You win.
Yeah, so yours is an eagle. I think mine are butterflies.
Oh, I love that though. It's so good. So good. Well, I am blessed that you came on to share your journey with us today. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you'd like to share with the listeners before we sign off?
Um, Make room for him. Uh, I think we're so distracted.
Mm,
That's been like one of the sermons lately, at my church is make room, that margin. And so you can have those still quiet pockets of time to really hear the Holy Spirit and connect. So just make the time and yeah, let him lead the way.
I love that. That's such amazing wisdom. So good. Well, Meredith, thank you so much for coming on. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Evolve Through God. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you.